Hello, good morning, you beautiful people. Good morning, good morning. So, today for my live, I am not going to use any filters, and there's a reason why. Let me see if I could put this down so I don't have to hold it. Uh, Let me see if I can put it down. Okay, so today, this morning, I'm not going to use any filters. So, the reason why I'm not going to use filters is because what I'm going to talk about and my motivation today. Now, it's so easy. Let me get a little more light in here. It's so easy to be afraid. Let's see. Okay. It's so easy to become afraid. And fear is a big thing. A lot of people are afraid of so many things right now. Is actually putting them into panic. And the concept that I want to talk about today is the concept of absence and presence. Because underlying fear is that concept of absence and presence. So I'm gonna tell on myself. So yesterday I made this big old video, and then I looked and there was this big old bugger in my nose, and I was like, that is gross. But you know I'm a nurse and I have no shame because I done seen it all and I done did it all to all kind of different people, helping them in the most embarrassing situations. But because I have no shame, I never feel bad, because if it was me, I wouldn't feel bad. So I guess we have shame, but it doesn't affect me that. So this morning, I thought about it and I said, I'm going to call myself out, because sometimes we use filters to block because of this whole, we're afraid, right? We're afraid to be seen. But it's below the fear is absence and presence. And I'm going to deep dive and break it down a little bit for you this morning. So a lot of times, presence make us afraid because, like for me, you see something there that you didn't want to be there, right? Or you are afraid that something's going to show up that you weren't expecting or anticipating, right? And that causes fear. But what is even more fearful than presence is absence. When you ask most people what their fear is, they are afraid of the dark. Darkness is the absence of light. So they're afraid of the dark. And sometimes, they have this whole thing about racial profiling where people are afraid of, if you see a group of dark-skinned men in a group coming towards you, people get afraid, right? Because they don't know. But it's not just that they're dark-skinned. It's like if I see a group of men, like a bunch of men coming towards me, and you don't have clarity as to who they are, so maybe they're not visible, or what their intention is, you get afraid. It's the same thing as sometimes I come on here and I notice that the days that I am more fearful of taping or going live is because I'm not very clear on my message as to what I want to say. And the days when I'm like, I got it, I know exactly what I want to say and how I want to say it, it's not so scary. So things that are absent, a lot of I've taken care of Alzheimer's patients, and for especially men, educated men, that is the hardest thing for them, to know that one day they could get Alzheimer's. That's like death sentence to them. It's probably worse than death to be alive and to be absent-minded. It is so difficult. So absence causes a lot of fear. And when you think about death in itself, it's not just dying, but it's the absence, knowing that you will not be present. The fear of missing out, knowing that you will not be there. Just absence is a very difficult emotion for us as humans to process. But if you want to level up and if you want to, increase your emotional intelligence and you want to increase your health, spend some time really getting used to absence. And just as much as you spend time getting used to presence. And I'll explain it to you. I don't like cockroaches. And we moved in here and there was like cockroaches everywhere. And I'm like, this is terrible. And I'm praying, oh man. And I had to confront my fear of cockroaches. And I was like, why am I afraid of cockroaches? And there are many other bugs who would bite me, not that I love cockroaches now, but I really had to confront my especially irrational fear, where I'll break my foot to get away from a roach. And I boiled it down that I am afraid of it because it's dark. I can't tell the head from the from the tail. I don't like it. And it's because of absence. And when I look at all the bugs and insects that I could care a little less for, they were usually dark and very indistinguishable. Like you can't tell the head from, the body features and everything. And I actually, then I would walk and see black snakes and then I would get terrified. And I actually had to, go through a process with meditation and affirmations and get comfortable with absence. And that was like a whole big emotional thing because I realized I wasn't even comfortable being black. I wasn't. Like, if we have our little hairs not laid down, you're like, oh my gosh, or if something is out of place or it just does not fit in, I was uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable. And I had to realize that presence is beautiful, but absence is even more beautiful. And just to shine a little light into this, not trying to be too long-winded here, but if you look at the universe, right? The universe is beautiful, but the majority of the universe is in the absence of light. When you go to sleep at night and you close your eyes, right? It is the most restful state when you close your eyes because it is dark. You actually sleep better in a dark room. So I'm not saying that you should you should always be in the dark, but I'm just saying that we don't have balance, and that's why we have a society running rampant with fear. We don't have balance as far as appreciating presence and appreciating absence. Presence has to come in a certain way, and absence just need not to be there in our lives. But there is a purpose for absence of color, absence of light, even absence of people. And sometimes we stay in really ridiculous relationships because we're afraid of absence. But getting comfortable with absence and really appreciating the purpose of absence will allow you to let go. It will dissipate the fear. When you walk into a dark room, right? You are not going, you're telling yourself it's dark, it's absent, and you change your perception. This is restful. This is good. It shuts my senses down. I'm overstimulated anyway. Just what is the conversation you're having going on in your head? So I didn't spend too long today, but I just had to share this message because there's a lot of fear and it's crazy and there's no need to be so fearful. And, just telling somebody stop being afraid is not going to make them not afraid. So all I'm doing is sharing that get comfortable with absence and get comfortable with presence, even presence that you weren't expecting or anticipating. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining.